So journey of risk. Journey of risk. First of all, what is risk? Risk is as simple as it is this. Probability into impact. What is the probability that something may happen? It can be from 0 to 99.99, but not 100%. Because if the probability become 100%, then something that is risk is not a risk anymore. Because risk is something that may or may not occur. There is an uncertainty in the risk. If something occurs, if the probability becomes 100%, it becomes an issue. So that's an important concept as a step number 1 to understand in the journey of risk. Now, when you are planning risk management as a project manager, you need to understand, you need to make a risk management plan. The plan that will define how risk management is going to be managed. The plan that is going to tell how the funding is going to be done. Who is going to fund the project? What is the tolerance of the organization? And is your organization risk seeker? They move towards the risk, or are the risk averse? They run away from the risk. Or in the best case scenario, which I consider best, a one-man opinion, risk neutral. They consider risk as positive as well as negative and then manage risk accordingly. So risk seeker, averse, neutral, what is the tolerance, threshold, all those things will be managed in the risk management plan. Once you have made the risk management plan, then comes the most important step. Identify the risk. Now once you are identifying risk, use every tool at your disposal. You can do SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. You can do PESTEL analysis, political, environmental, social, technological, legal, and economical. You also need to review assumption log. You also need to review all the plans, stakeholder register, charter, business case, benefit management plan. In other words, review everything. And the most important thing, the heart of these things, expert judgment. Asking expert about the risk. We put all the risk that we have identified. And also remember, risk identification is an iterative process. You can identify risk at any stage of the project. So you make a risk register that lists all the risk, and at this stage, potential response and potential owner. Owner is someone who is gonna implement the risk response plan. And then you also make risk report, a weekly risk basically report that says what are the high level risk, what are the low level risk, how the overall spectrum of risk falls. Once you identify all the risk, you may have 100 of the risk. Next process is ranking them. Not all risks are same. Some risks can destroy you, where other risks are negligible. So we need to rank through qualitative risk assessment as low, medium, high, or very low, low, medium, very high. Through qualitative risk assessment. The purpose of qualitative is to rank the risk and give us the most important risk. Some projects only do qualitative risk assessment, make those 3x3 matrix or 5x5 matrix and get done with it. But if your project is sensitive, like pharmaceutical, like medicines and all those, you may need to do quantitative risk assessment. Here you will get exact number, how much that risk can occur, how much this risk can occur, what is the schedule, like what are the chances you will meet the schedule, tornado analysis, Monte Carlo, sensitivity, influence diagram, all those things in quantitative. The purpose of qualitative and quantitative is to rank the risk or prioritize the risk. Now you have your ranked risk. The next thing comes to plan response of those risks. We have negative risk. Risk can be negative. That is called as threat. I'm gonna use red marker for them, or risk can be positive. I'm gonna use blue marker for them. That is called as opportunity. So for threat, the first thing is you avoid the risk. You don't do that thing at all. You don't do that thing at all. And if you don't do, the probability becomes zero, the risk becomes zero. You don't do that. Changing the work package, changing your plan, not going outside in COVID is avoiding the risk. Next come mitigate. If you cannot avoid the risk, then you mitigate the risk. Decrease the intensity, decrease probability or impact. We are using like PPs in this COVID era. These are all mitigation. These are all mitigations. Then the next come transfer of risk, like buying insurance and all those things. These are transferring of risk. And whenever you transfer the risk, you need to buy premium. You need to pay some money. Reverse of avoid in opportunity is exploiting the risk. Exploiting the risk to complete extent, like maximizing the probability and impact. If you cannot exploit the risk, then enhance. Either probability increases or impact, one thing. Reverse of transfer is sharing of the risk. Sharing of the risk. So these are some of the individual responses. Then we have accept. Accept is used for both positive and negative risk. So we have active acceptance and passive acceptance. In active acceptance, we make plans, do nothing. In all these we are doing. In active acceptance, we only make plans. In fact, passive acceptance, we don't do anything. Whatever happens, we do work around. We do work around, also known as jugaad in the local language. So you use contingency reserves for them and management reserves for the workarounds. Then the last strategy is escalate the risk. Escalating to the senior management. It is also for both positive as well as negative risk. Once the risk response has been agreed, the risk response plan is given, it is approved, all the baselines, all the documents may get updated as a result of that. Once that is done, the next step is to implement this risk response plan. It's a very tricky step because people most of the time, the risk owner whose responsibility is to implement, they don't implement it. So the next step is implement the risk response plan. You implement it. Once you implement the risk response plan, you have two options. Either you get residual risk, the remaining risk, the low risk, which you can accept sometime, or a secondary risk. Another risk has occurred. A secondary risk has occurred. So you may need to tackle it. You have risk review meeting to review your risk management processes, risk audit to ensure the effectiveness of the process, and we also check the technical performance. You get the technical performance, how the risk is being done. So that's a risk journey in a summary. I hope this journey is clear to you and you can understand the entire context, how basically risk management is done. For your PMP exam, risk management is a very important topic. You can get a drag and drop question or all type of questions for this. I hope this journey has been proven useful, and like always remember, it's the bigger picture and then the small picture, like a jigsaw puzzle, how each and everything adds into the overall journey, overall things that makes a certified PMP. And if you have not subscribed so far, do subscribe and click that bell icon so that you can get all the notification about those videos, because our commitment to YouTube, LinkedIn, all those things is gonna rise very high. Thank you very much. It's Amer.